what would be your sort of top pieces of advice? Let's make this really specific. For a jiu-jitsu athlete who wants to compete, who wants to have the option of not just pulling guard,
yes,
what should they be doing?
First thing is take your personal ego and throw it in a trash bag, because you're going to lose a lot when you're starting, when you feel like you can win. So what I mean by that is you may feel like you can win rounds by pulling guard in practice, and you're actually taking away time that you could be learning how to properly stand with somebody. So you kind of have to redefine winning in your head for a second. Winning may not be I get the most throws in the round or I land the best quality throw in the round. Winning when I'm first starting might just be, hey, I stayed on my feet the whole time and I tried to throw, or I had X number of attacks, or, hey, I've been studying gripping. There's some great products now that are out by people like Jimmy or Ruddy on how to learn how to grip fight. Hey, I got to implement this strategy for gripping, just as I would for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where say I was trying to learn a new guard, I put myself in the positions where I'm going to go. That said, coming from Jiu-Jitsu, the first thing I prioritize is learning how to grip, because that skill set's actually going to be immediately useful going back the other direction. I'm pretty comfortable when I'm stuck in somebody's close guard, not because that's a good position, but because the gripping is actually really, really similar. Just knowing how to efficiently strip grips with one hand really makes things a lot easier for me versus having to rely on grabbing two, or not understanding that if I do have to use two, how to attack the structure of the grip. Every time I cry a little every time I see somebody in jiu-jitsu grab both sides of a sleeve and try to push the hand off and watch the gi just move up somebody's elbow. So start with that. Avoid sacrifice throws, because you will think, well, that immediately gets me to my guard game. And that's kind of the problem, is you need to learn how to use your hips. You need to learn how to time foot sweeps. Particularly things like gripping and timing foot sweeps, that stuff you'll immediately bring back. And also recognize that some of the issues you'll learn from a throwing perspective, you'll bring that back with you, but not necessarily in a throwing position. So Uchimata is a great example. Understanding how to use Uchimata well helps a lot in whizzer fights when those happen on the ground. Not even necessarily that you're going to throw the other person Uchimata, but just understanding how to prevent your back from being taken and using that position. So I would start there. And then from there, after those points, it's really just learning kind of the classical judo education, learning how to throw people up to those 8 different directions, learning how to foot sweep. The throws I would prioritize, that things you can pretty easily immediately bring back with you. Ouchigari, Osotogari, Kouchigari. Those are pretty much part of almost everyone's moveset in judo, or people trying to do judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. In terms of big forward throws, understand that some big forward throws are, when I say forward, I'm throwing the other person forward. They're part of the meta because if they don't work, I only have to hold you off for 20 seconds, or because they take advantage of a particular situation. There's a really cool throw called Sodesuri Kamigoshi where I push your sleeve across your center line. I love this throw. You almost never see it in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because most people don't. I
hate being thrown with that. It's the worst throw. It is so awful.
Well, there's like nowhere you can put your hands. You're like, oh, I guess this is my life now. But you don't see as much in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because normally the standing situations don't evolve enough that you would see it. But
yeah, if you grab both of my sleeves at the ends of both of those sleeves, and you've got, I am 1,000% pulling guard right then, and I don't care if you pass my guard.
Anything to avoid that fall.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, this throw in both one sleeve and 2 sleeve variations involve you falling in such a way you don't really have any ability to cancel how hard that fall is going to be. Yeah. That'd be what I'd say. I wrote an article on Medium a while ago aimed at judo players going to jiu-jitsu. I called it like what to bring back with you, which was, what are the elements of jiu-jitsu that really help a competitive judo game? And I've been meaning for a while to write a sequel to that, which was going the other direction. If you're looking to do judo for jiu-jitsu, what to bring with you, or if you're, I guess I would refer people to that article if they're coming from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and they're very serious about judo. These are the elements from your jiu-jitsu game that become relevant, which are being functional in half guard, at the very least defensively, because it takes too long for me to pass deep half usually before I get stood up. And actually being able to be offensive from deep half or half guard is something that a lot of judo players aren't really prepped to deal with. And And it can even be surprising to someone who is very experienced in BJJ and in a judo setting. Getting very good off your back in a closed guard that isn't actually closed, because if you close that closed guard in judo, a lot of refs will think you're just looking to get stood up. And in turn, being able to translate that to hitting a lot of moves that in jiu-jitsu, you scratch your head, like, why are you going for the armbar from the back? But actually, you're doing that because that's the quickest way to get the submission. And taking the time to really learn the turnovers that exist in judo that may not be there in BJJ, but they end up being really good for learning how to control people or how to control people from their back. I know this was a lot of ranting, but I hope this is useful to people.